Dodger Stadium as the Dodgers and Diamondbacks face off here for the first time this year. A gorgeous night for the first game of this series, and we're thrilled that you're with us for it. Joe Davis or Hershiser, Alana Rizzo joins us in a moment. So does Nomar Garcia-Parra tonight. So the Dodgers, when you go back to last season, have now dropped 9 in a row against these Diamondbacks when you consider the 3-game sweep in Arizona a couple of weeks ago. And tonight they send Greinke and Maeda to the mound against Greinke in a matchup of what's been 2 of the top 5 pitchers in the National League the last couple of years in wins.
Yeah, with Greinke, you know what, 17 wins last year, Diamondbacks. Baseball America had him at the best changeup in the big league, second best control and third best pitcher, so they rated him very highly. He's gotten off to a little bit of a rugged start. First start was good, the second start was not so good against St. Louis. Greinke looking to get back on the beam against the Dodgers. Maeda does not have that problem. Throwing the ball outstanding. 12 strikeouts in 6 innings. His fastball is going the different direction than Greinke's. His fastball play is going up. Greinke's fastball velocity has gone down.
Let's go down to the field with Alana Rizzo, brought to you by El Pollo Loco.
All right, Joe, thanks very much. A bit of a different looking lineup tonight in game 1 of this series. Of course, you have Chris and Corey at the top, but Matt Kemp is actually batting in the 3 hole at 355. He has the second highest average on the team, only behind Yasmani Grandal, who is in the 5 spot. Yasiel Puig, normally in the 3 spot, has moved down to 6. Dave Roberts said he wanted Matt Kemp to break up the lefties. You're breaking up the lefties. Good job. Wanted Matt Kemp to break up the lefties, and he also wanted Yasiel Puig to have a bit of a different look.
That's great. Great reaction by Alana. There's Nomar, who's going to be field level tonight for this one, breaking down Corey Seager's every move. First pitch just around the corner. Dodger Stadium filling up for this series opener between the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks on a perfect Friday night for baseball. And we talked about it going to break. Nomar Garciaparra is with us tonight. Something we're going to do on Friday nights throughout the season, a Dodgers spotlight. Nomar is going to dive a little deeper on one Dodger, and who better to start that series off with than Corey Seager, and who better to do it than Nomar? The two greatest rookie seasons from a shortstop in baseball history by a lot of measures. Seager and the man breaking him down tonight, Nomar.
Nah, it's really exciting. What I really like is the perspective that I have. I'm down here right by the dugout, and one unique thing about here is, you know, as Corey's going to be coming up to the plate, I'm going to be able to be breaking down a little bit what he's been working on, what he's trying to achieve, and the other thing also on a defensive perspective, but it's also the very similar angle that the coaches have. I think we have the luxury of seeing it on video, where the coaches can't do it as it's happening. They have to go back afterwards and watch it, so this is going to be fun to highlight Corey Seager, and we all know he's fun to watch.
Can you have some conversations with him when he's in the on-deck circle? You think you can get him on the air for us?
I could try, but he may not like that, and the coaches may not like that. We'll have to, you know, we didn't discuss that ahead of time. And if he's as superstitious as I am, he may not like that either.
Yeah, I don't think you would have liked that too much as a player. I don't know, but probably not.
And you know, Nomar, Alana got interrupted by Matt Kemp in the open right when she was talking about Matt Kemp, so you should be able to arrange that. Alana's got that power.
Well, I'll say that. I said, hey, Corey, come here. Can you give me a second? I know you have to hit right now to get Zach Greinke, which, come on, let's go. Just give me about 2 seconds, all right?
That's good.
Take a look at the lineup for the Diamondbacks in this one, guys. Brought to you by 76. It has David Peralta leading it off, and then Ketel Marte. Paul Goldschmidt has really started to heat it up since the Dodgers last saw him. Dan Descalso starts at third and bats cleanup with Jake Lamb on the disabled list. Chris Owings is in right. Gerard Dyson in center. Nick Ahmed at short. Jeff Mathis catching. Very good defensive lineup that Torey Lovullo sends out there. Here's Kenta Maeda making his first start in his 30s, having celebrated his birthday earlier this week, and his first start since late March when he had 10 strikeouts over 5 shutout innings.
A couple of weeks off as far as a starter is concerned, but Kenta has not let any of that bother him at all. 12 strikeouts in 6 innings. You break that down, a lot of them are coming from the fastball, the cutter, and the slider. A couple from the changeup, but when I think Kenta Maeda, I think aggressive and a lot of confidence in the fastball.
So Peralta stands in, and off we go with a fastball up 1-0. Kenta Maeda during the offseason vowed to try and channel what he learned from his stint in the bullpen last October. Try to channel that into his starts, and so far the results say that he's held up that end of the bargain. That's a strike 1-1. Fastball velocity way up. Fastball usage with the cutter, as you're talking about, way up. It's kind of been an exact copy of what you saw in short spurts out of the pen. A little bit up, and it's 2-1 on Peralta.
The equation that Kenta Maeda is using to get San Francisco Giants out, because that's who he has pitched against this year. No other uniform. But the up fastball, good combination with Peralta here. Peralta early in the season is hitting over 400 on off-speed pitches.
On a 2-1, Peralta shanks a fastball foul, 2-2. Closed captioning tonight brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel. Diamondbacks have won all 4 series they've played so far. Only the Mets have a better record in the National League. And they're trying to start 10-3 for the first time in franchise history. Maeda's 2-2. Cuts low, full count.
They've increased their discipline as far as at the plate too. They are getting more pitches out of every at bat. They're attributing that a little bit to patience, but also aggressive when they get that strike.
Takes off on Maeda, and a walk opens the night. Only his second of the season.
Second baseman number 4, Ketel Marte.
Ketel Marte now. This is what you're talking about. It's a small increase in pitches per plate appearance, but they've got a few guys that are in the top 10 in the league in number of pitches that they're seeing per plate appearance. Marte's one of those guys. Base hit to left. So walk and a single, and the Diamondbacks have 2 on with nobody out here in the first.
Well, Peralta, their leadoff hitter, he has not played a game this year where he hasn't reached base. He got on with a walk. And now Marte fouls it up with a nice piece of hitting. When he gets a strike, he's aggressive.
And now Goldschmidt, who started the season 3 for 30, but found something in San Francisco this week, hitting a couple of home runs and a double. And he knew it was just a matter of time. One of the best hitters in the game. He was going to find it sooner rather than later.
It was easy to think that he was going to come out of it because he was getting his walks. It wasn't like he was swinging the bat, making a lot of outs and chasing pitches.
Swings through a fastball, 0-1. 30 years old now. Been an all-star 5 times. Top 3 in MVP voting 3 times, including last year. It was a really close race last year. Remember, with Giancarlo Stanton, Joey Votto, and Goldschmidt all bunched together at the top of the voting. Tries to lay off, can't, and falls behind 0-2.
Check that swing. No, that is a swing. And then I thought the pitch was a strike out of hand, and it was.
How many times we see that? Home plate umpires distracted by a check swing. Dan Iasonia calling balls and strikes in this one. Goldschmidt down on 3 pitches. Maeda blows it by him at 93.
Well, huge that the runners don't move up, and huge that Goldschmidt doesn't get an RBI. Missed his target as far as the height, but right on the edge, and Goldschmidt looked like he was looking for something else, just a protection swing with no contact.
That looked a little more like the swings we were seeing in Phoenix a week ago.
We can only hope.
Yeah. 2 on, 1 out. Here's Daniel Descalso. It's an unlikely cleanup hitter. First pitch breaking ball for a strike. Yeah, so the Diamondbacks are 9-3, but they've done it without Steven Souza, who they acquired to be in the middle of their order as a power hitter. And they've done it largely without Jake Lamb, who's been on the disabled list with a shoulder injury. And really without a productive Paul Goldschmidt. So the trickle down of those injuries is that Descalso is starting at 3rd and hitting in a higher spot in the order than he's used to. Sharply hit to left, a base hit. Peralta's headed for the plate. Kemp's throw is cut off by Forsythe, and the Diamondbacks have a 1st inning run on a base hit from Daniel Descalso.
And the free pass comes back to hurt you. Peralta scores. He got on with 4 balls, and a couple of left-handed hitters doing a nice job stroking the ball to left field. Staying on the 2-seam fastball, and you can also stay on the changeup out there.
So Arizona strikes first, and with men at 1st and 2nd and 1 out, here comes Chris Owings.
When we were in Arizona and the Diamondbacks swept us, Owings was one of the hot bats. Peralta, Owings, and Ahmed were really kind of carrying their offense. And Owings has kept it up. His average is over 300.
Takes ball 1 low. He's one of those guys that's been vocal about adopting a more patient approach. His chase percentage, his swing percentage way down from where they've been previously in his career. Always been an aggressive hitter. But then had, he said during spring training at one of their hitters meetings, kind of an aha moment where the things that they were preaching about being more selective. Kind of clicked for him. He's carried it into the regular season. Breaking ball is in for a strike, 1-1.
Kenta's going to need that breaking ball. It seems like Arizona has picked up on the fact that he has had a lot of success with his heater. Both hits here tonight so far have been on the fastball. But he has dabbled with the curve here early already.
Cutters bounce back to him. There's 1 and 2. He minimizes the damage in the first inning to 1. And the Dodgers will come to bat for the first time with Corey Seager due up second. And Nomar takes us inside our Dodgers spotlight. 1-0 after a half inning. Time of this lineup brought to you by 76. After Chris Taylor, it will be Corey Seager. And then for the first time this year, Matt Kemp out of the 3 spot, as Alana told us about off of the top of the show. Bellinger's back into the cleanup spot. Puig slides down to 6. Forsythe and Kike Hernandez in front of Greinke and Maeda. And against Zach Greinke, who makes his 3rd start of the year. 2 very different starts so far. Was good against Colorado, and then got rocked against St. Louis over the weekend, allowing 5 runs in 5 innings.
It'll be an interesting outing for us all to watch Zach Greinke, because the fastball has started to really go down. Average fastball now is under 89 miles an hour. 2007, you're talking about a guy who threw around 96 miles an hour, and slowly that has gone down and down and down. And it's gotten to the point now, Joe, that the fastball and that 2-seam changeup of his are only 3 miles an hour apart. So you really can't call it a changeup.
Awkward swing and a miss, 2-1. And it's gotten to the point where some of his fastballs are getting charted as changeups because the velocity has fallen to the point where the lines are blurred.
When he's throwing 96, or let's even say 92 and above, he just grip it and rip it with that changeup.
Taylor drills one to left center field and opens the game with a home run. This one is tied at 1 on Taylor's 2nd of the season.
That's the way Chris Taylor opened this homestand with a home run against Oakland. It actually went back-to-back, he and Corey Seager. We're talking about Zach Greinke and the fastball and the changeup coming together. So if the ball is going to be straight or just a little tail, it's not going to be hard to time it if you recognize that.
And now Greinke to Corey Seager, who the other night, Nomar, went back-to-back with Taylor to open the game.
Well, right now, let's see if he can do the same thing here. You know, Corey Seager, obviously his average not where he would like it to be, kind of off to a slow start. We understand that, just like the entire Dodger offense. But it's really interesting to see what he's actually been working on for himself. And a lot of it, we talk about his strengths, is being able to hit the ball to all fields. Really been focusing on trying to drive that ball into the left center gap, which allows him to stay on it. And maybe he can get one out here today.
Interesting thing going on here, Nomar. Umpire went out to the mound along with Jeff Mathis, and then called Troy Lavello out with the training staff to take a look at Zach Greinke.
Right now, look at Zach as he goes down, and you show that replay. He's kind of watching. He was also kind of twisting his upper torso and his back. So I don't know if it's something with his back or not.
It does look very back-related, Nomar.
Remember, he dealt with a groin injury, groin tightness throughout spring training.
It looks like he's dealing something in the rib cage area or the back, just the way he's twisting and gyrating. So hard as a pitcher when all of a sudden some link in the chain doesn't work. I know, Nomar, as a hitter, the same thing with you guys. But boy, when something in the middle of the chain doesn't work, you worry about with a pitcher that all of a sudden he's going to put more pressure on his elbow or his shoulder.
Right. And I'll tell you, and as a hitter, and it's amazing your body, when there's something that might be bothering you, how your body naturally tries to protect itself from feeling that pain or to injure it more. And just that slight little tweak can be the difference between missing a ball or barreling it up.
Greinke had a nice bounce back year last year and stayed healthy, but 2 years ago, in his first year with the Diamondbacks, he missed 6 weeks midseason with an oblique injury. Missed a few starts with a shoulder injury as well. Seager slaps it foul, and it's 0-2.
He's still feeling it. He threw that pitch right there, and there was a little grimace after the follow through, kind of like protecting it, like Nomar said.
Facing a guy in Seager who has had his number in his young career. But here, Greinke gets him for the first out of the night. You're right, though. It's constant grimace.
He's even kind of walking awkwardly, like he's testing it with every step of which movement he can make. If it's bothering you in the first few pitches of a game, it is going to be really tough to sit in the dugout, watch your offense, and then come back out and warm up.
Goes to work against Matt Kemp. And misses up with the first one. So Kemp into that 3 spot with a nice run lately. 7 for his last 12 with a home run and 2 doubles. Dave Roberts just liking his at-bat quality more, liking the results. And giving Puig a chance to reset down in the 6th spot, even though there's a lot of bad luck right now going on with Yasiel Puig. Some things have gotten out of whack mechanically. Kemp right now hitting .355, earning this spot. He's ahead of Greinke 2-1.
I wonder if the flip happens if Trace Thompson doesn't catch Yasiel's home run the other night.
Fair question.
I think Yasiel is in a place where he feels pretty consistent. Did have some flaws that they were trying to fix with Turner Ward, but you're right, he has hit in such bad luck. I think in some ways Dave Roberts just trying to give him a fresh look, like, hey, you've been snake bit in the 3-hole, let's get you down in the 6-hole, get a little different perspective on the game, and maybe your luck will change.
And you could have said the same thing a few days ago, but I think the follow-up question would have been, well, who do you put into the 3 spot? And Matt Kemp in the last few days has given an answer to that question. On a 2-2 against Greinke, Kemp swings and misses at a breaking ball for strike 3. Through the grimacing and the pain, Zach Greinke with back-to-back Ks after the homer.
Fastball away to Corey Seager, and here's a nice slow curveball on the outer corner of the plate.
Tie game in the first. Here's Bellinger. And those career numbers against Greinke, that's just regular season. He also homered against him in the DS. Swings and misses, strike 1.
87 miles an hour. And Cody's asking about location on that pitch, but he's also probably trying to process the velocity. Normally you see a fastball like that from Zach and it's above 90.
One and one.
You know, hitters hit off of reputation and experiences they've had against certain pitchers, and sometimes it takes a while to gear down as a veteran pitcher starts to lose velocity and hit off what's new compared to what you've used to experienced. You can't hit off the resume. You got to hit off what's going on in the game right now.
Against a guy that had some 3-year run in Dodger blue. Bellinger bounces one through into center for a base hit.
Arizona not employing a shift with Cody. If they were shifted, the shortstop or second baseman would be right there, but they were playing a conventional defense, slight pull or severe pull, but not to a point where they were shifting. Against the Giants, against some other clubs, Oakland, that would have probably been an out.
Yeah, I think you're right the first time. In this day and age, that is slight pull.
Yeah.
The way they were playing him. Keeps the inning alive for Grandal. Like Bellinger has gone deep twice against Greinke in his career. A 3-year run for Greinke, we're talking about the third best 3-year stretch in Dodger history. Behind only Sandy Koufax's peak in the mid-60s and Clayton Kershaw a few years ago. Greinke was 51-15 in Dodger blue. Had a .230 ERA. 1 ball and 1 strike. And included that 2015 season, the best earned run average in the majors in 2 decades. He had a 166. Opted out of his contract. And now in the 3rd year of a 6-year deal with the Diamondbacks. Came right down to the wire on that decision for Zach. A lot of people thought that it was going to be Dodgers or even Giants. And he later admitted that he was close to choosing between those offers when Arizona reached out for the very first time in early December. And they had agreed to a deal within a few hours of the first time they made contact. He hits Grandal, and they're at first and second with 2 out.
A guy with meticulous control hitting a batter like Zach Greinke, and this is relating to whatever he's dealing with the back or the rib cage, because you start to change your mechanics a little bit and your timing gets thrown off, and all of a sudden control can abandon you.
2 on, 2 out. Now Greinke to face Puig. Dave Roberts promised at the start of the season there would be a long leash with Puig in that 3 spot, giving him opportunity to thrive there with no Justin Turner. We mentioned the bad luck that he's dealt with, but it turned into some bad habits mechanically that he's trying to iron out.
Yeah, early in the season, and I mean within the first 5 or 6 games, he was just hitting in hard luck, and exit velocity was way above major league average. He was right up there. He was hitting the ball as hard as most. But I'll tell you what changed is all of a sudden the next few games we started seeing that roll over to shortstop, roll over to third base, and Dave Roberts noticed that. Turner Ward noticed that. Early work started again, and they're getting Yasiel back on track.
Turner Ward was so thrilled to see Puig come off of the bench the other night and hit what should have been a home run if it wasn't for Trace Thompson robbing him in right center. Strike at the knees, 1-1. It's always nice when you put the work in and then hours later you're vindicated watching it pay off. Even though it didn't really pay off, Thompson making the catch, but
you've got to evaluate execution, not results all the time, and that's where Yasiel has to live right now. because he hasn't been getting the results, but he is back to executing.
Two on, two out, first inning, and a 1-2 that Puig takes just low. 2-2. Talking about how pinpoint Zach Greinke is with his control. Grandal, the first batter that Zach Greinke has hit in 3 seasons.
I think that's why he has struggled here at Dodger Stadium since putting on the Diamondback uniform. The guys are so comfortable having an ex-teammate on the mound and knowing he doesn't come way inside. You have no health risk when you face Zach. There's no flinch. And now that his velocity is, let's say, 89 on the fastball, and I just saw the slider that he almost got Puig out was 86, and the changeup is like 85.
It's all the same.
He has to be precise.
Runners that get a head start. There they go, and then head back to the bag with Greinke taking a look at Bellinger. Cody trying to loosen up too. Now the payoff, and Puig strikes out on a changeup. But the Dodgers tie it against an ailing Greinke with Chris Taylor starting the inning with a solo home run. Off and rolling at Dodger Stadium. Tied at 1. First pitch, Andre Ingram, an overnight star for the Los Angeles Lakers. Made his NBA debut Monday after 10 seasons in the D-League and the G-League and playing overseas. Came off of the bench and scored 19 as a 32-year-old, the oldest player to debut in the NBA in at least 50 years. Quite a story. 1-1 game to open the second. Gerard Dyson takes a ball from Kenta Maeda. Ingram has never made more than $30,000 in a season playing basketball, so he's been supplementing his basketball paychecks by working as a math tutor. That's driven to deep right field, sending Puig back onto the warning track, against the wall to catch it.
Not the easiest of balls, but Yasiel Puig makes it look semi-routine, directly over your head. Look at the sprint there to get to a place he knew how well it was hit. And then the deal with the curvature of the ball right over your head, the wall, and can you catch it? Oh yeah, 2 hands. He knew there could be some impact.
So 1 gone here in the second. As Puig makes a nice catch on Dyson's well-struck fly ball. And the batter is Nick Ahmed. First pitch curve, strike 1. You mentioned, Oral, that Nick Ahmed had gotten off to that hot start. Was, for the first weekend, the best Diamondbacks hitter. But then during the Dodgers series, he came down with an illness, and since then, is 1 for his last 15. Two and 1.
Get some head shaking from both pitchers. Not either one of them is very comfortable out there yet. Zach with the health issues, but comes back and strikes out the side, and Kent is out there shaking his head at himself because of location issues.
That one's perfect. 2 and 2.
Everybody wants to know, is that as far as you're going to go as far as called strikes away? You'll see some of the longest conversations that won't turn into arguments between hitters and umpires.
Rides in on his hands and a soft line out to Hernandez. 2 out.
I think that catch that Yasiel made was worth the Morongo slow-mo cam, and what he did that we see that we cringe on the routine. Well, when he knows he has to be fundamentally sound, he goes to the fundamentally sound. He broke hard, he got to a spot, he waited for the impact of the wall, and he caught it with 2 hands to make sure he held on. He will make our hearts stop on the routine stuff that's right there, and he kind of side saddles it and semi-basket catches it.
2 out for Mathis. Strike 1. Yeah, he makes the mundane a whole lot less mundane.
He's bored when those are just right to him. He needs a challenge out there to show you what he really can do.
Back-to-back cutters, back-to-back strikes. 0 and 2. Maeda trying to change his luck against an Arizona team that drilled him last year at an ERA north of 7 against the Diamondbacks. Brings an 0-2 to Mathis. And he takes this one low and away for ball 1.
One of the great things about Kenta Maeda is he has not been afraid to change. When he broke in with the Dodgers, was successful first half of the season, and then started relying on the slider so much, he had to change. And then it was about not throwing the slider as much, and we've got to make sure we get the fastball in on people to get them off the off-speed stuff. He made that change. And then last year, really starting to believe more in the 4-seam fastball up, the cutter being added to get lefties and righties, and he made the change.
He rocks and fires 2-2, and Mathis hits it foul.
Just goes to show you how much of a athlete Kenta Maeda is. We see it on the double play that he turned to end the first. We see it at the plate, the way he handles the bat. But then in the pitching philosophies and the mechanical adjustments that he and Rick Honeycutt have made with information, and when the league catches up, he has the ability to create new things.
Wasn't just a baseball player growing up in Japan. He loved soccer. In fact, that was his first love. And then his third sport was swimming. Backstroke was his specialty. Started doing it when he was 2 years old, at least swimming. I'm not sure he was doing backstroke at age 2. On a payoff, Mathis grounds it to Logan Forsythe at third. 1-2-3 inning for Greinke and Maeda. To the bottom of the second we go in a 1-1 game. Southern California BMW Center today for exceptional offers, or visit SoCalBMW.com. That's Corey Seager, who started playing baseball when he was 3 years old. Even though you weren't technically allowed to join the team until you were 4, but they snuck him on Justin's team, his middle brother. Always had his cleats on as a kid, never wanted to take those things off, and they say that he cried for days when he started kindergarten and they wouldn't let him wear them to school. Bottom 2, tied at 1. Zach Greinke to Logan Forsythe with ball 1. Can't wear your cleats on the rugs, right? You got nap rugs and everything in there. Cut those things up.
Explain that to a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
You're going to get your chance.
A 1-0. Forsythe gets under it. A pop fly to short right field. Ketel Marte tracking it for the first out. Well, it's going to be interesting to watch Zach Greinke as this night goes on. I don't know about you, but I was very surprised that he stayed in the game, seeing how much pain it looked like he was in when the training staff first came out.
If it's a pull, it doesn't usually go away. It just gets worse, and that area tightens up, and you get the compensatory things that start to go on with your body. If it's maybe he's pulling through a little scar tissue, that's the thing that can feel bad, and then it's all of a sudden it will go away.
Generous strike on Hernandez.
There's plenty of scar tissue in all these bodies that have pitched this many innings.
For Greinke, 15 years in the majors. Ahead of Hernandez, 0-2. Debuted when he was 20. Kansas City Royals back in 2004. The Royals to the Brewers to the Angels for a year before he was with the Dodgers. Gets Hernandez on 3 pitches. Yeah, and quickly 2 out here in the second. In case you're just tuning in, this is what happened in that first inning. He gave up the leadoff home run to Chris Taylor, and then 1 pitch into the at-bat to Corey Seager started wincing and contorting his body very clearly to be in pain, but wound up striking out the side and is back out there here in the second.
It looked like the rest of that inning he was favoring something.
Strike on Maeda. You know, they talk about how the StatCast category perceived velocity, which has a lot to do with extension. Wonder how much they factor the grunt into perceived velocity. Pop fly. Descalso near the dugout has room. And the Dodgers down in order. Just 8 pitches for Zach Greinke in that scoreless second.
Dodgers as we follow Cody Bellinger and Alex Wood to a NASCAR event in Phoenix where they spend a day with Daytona 500 winner Austin Dillon. Plus Kike Hernandez is mic'd up for BP during the opening series. Don't miss Backstage Dodgers presented by Cadillac tonight after the postgame on Sportsnet LA.
Hello to those of you watching us on KTLA tonight. Glad to have you along. So we go to the third inning in a 1-1 game. Joe Davis, or Hershiser, Alon Rizzo, and Omar Garcia Parra with us tonight as well. And as we detailed, Zach Greinke battling through some pain in that first inning of pitching. Here comes his first at bat, which is a whole nother hurdle.
It'll be interesting to see if he swings the bat up there. He is practicing in the on-deck circle swinging the bat, but maybe he is attempting to find a swing that doesn't hurt. Here we are in the top of the third inning, and he's still trying to get loose.
Maeda, having made the final out of the bottom of the second, gets some extra time to warm up. Greinke, normally a pitcher, if there's a question about how they're going to be swinging the bat because of health, it's like it's a wash, right? Big deal. But Greinke's different. This guy's a good hitter. .216 for his career. That's the best among any active pitcher. Guy that before he was a pitcher was a star shortstop in high school, and a lot of teams were looking at him to draft him as a position player. Even Kansas City, who took him 6th overall in 2002. There were conversations early on about whether he would be a pitcher or if he would play shortstop. Strike one in the corner.
He and Yasmani Grandal had a little chat as he came from the on-deck circle up into the box, and a guy that's very quiet, usually doesn't talk much at all, was up there smiling and flapping his gums with his old catcher.
Maybe the old catcher said, hey, you don't hit people. Why'd you hit me?
Well, they were probably laughing about that. You hit one guy in the last 3 years and it's me? What's up?
Two and one. Diamondbacks getting a run in the first inning against Maeda, taking advantage of a leadoff walk. Dan Descalso driving in David Peralta with a single. That's low. 3 balls and a strike.
I don't think he wants to swing the bat. Even in between pitches, he's still like practicing a swing. It doesn't hurt.
And a walk to the pitcher to open this inning. A pitcher who may or may not be up there even capable of swinging.
Number 6, David Peralta.
Kenta only had 1 walk coming into today. 12 strikeouts in the 6 innings that he had coming into today, but already today, 2.
So now Peralta, who walked his first time and scored that Diamondbacks run. Ball 1. First game in a few days for the 30-year-old. He missed some time recently with a sore hand that he hurt during spring training, and it's kind of cropped up again recently. That's a strike, 1-1. Anytime you start talking injuries when it comes to Peralta, the Diamondback fans tend to cringe, because he's been a very good player when he's been healthy, but that's not been real often. Last year was a bounce back season from those injuries, but wrist injury, back injury, finger injury historically. Different lineup when he's not in it.
He's a grinder, and you know you're in a ball game, and he is competing with you every time he steps on the field. So he not only brings production, but he brings a vibe.
They call him the freight train. Loudest, most energetic guy they have in that clubhouse. Two balls, 2 strikes. Teammates have kidded him before. Hey, you know that a freight train can like idle every once in a while, doesn't always have to be going. And David says, I can't idle. It's just the way I am. I've got to be talking. I've always got to be moving. The 2-2. Hit hard, base hit into center. So like the first inning, the first 2 have reached for the D-backs here in the 3rd.
Number 4,
the D-backs are not biting at the high fastball. Kenta was alternating between the changeup and the high fastball, but weren't biting on that one and caught up to the changeup. Peralta, like we said earlier, hitting over 400 this year on off-speed pitches, and that adds to that average right there.
So 2 on, nobody out. Ketel Marte extended his hitting streak to 8 games for the first inning single. First pitch curve is low, ball 1, and we check in with Nomar.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been watching Corey Seager on that last at bat with David Peralta. See where he is. This is before he gets 2 strikes, because they have the shift on him. He's going to be taking a double play if it hits the 3rd, and then after 2 strikes, they move him back over because they think he's going to be more protection. And what happens? They hit the ball right where you were. Frustrating as an infielder and frustrating for a pitcher.
Curve is tapped back to Maeda. Guns it wide of the bag. Seager with a great extension to catch it for the out. And they're no question going to take a look at the replay on this. Omar, you had a pretty good look at that one. What do you think? Did he keep his foot on the bag?
I think he might have. I mean, that's one thing you're already anticipating. You don't really always anticipate a bad throw. You're anticipating a throw around the bag, but then all of a sudden you got to tell yourself to become a first baseman. And it doesn't look like from that angle that he kept it on. It was there. It was there. He's still sliding, trying to keep it on as long as possible. But that's going to be a tough one. I mean, he did everything he possibly could to keep that foot on there, and and also make the play.
And Diamondbacks are going to challenge this. Key thing is that it was called it out on the field. Do they have enough there to overturn it?
Nomar, when your foot comes across the bag, you used to be able to drag it and then just kind of be in the vicinity. But now with the rules today, to stay in contact, does your foot feel like it bounces off the bag? What's that feel like?
Well, I'll tell you, right, you're usually dragging it across the back of it. Right now, when he was going to that bag, that's what he was anticipating. If a good throw, he's not dragging it where he ended up hitting. He almost hit it like in the kind of on the inside part of it and the back side, but the inner part of the bag as compared to the back corner of it. A good throw, he goes back corner, clears himself out of the runner and throws the first. But once that ball came in and he noticed it was a bad throw, it was just get the foot to the bag and try to stay on, and that's all you can really do.
Presence of replay has changed so much. Plays like this. Presence of replay and the new slide rule, worked hand in hand to completely change how plays at the bag are viewed.
You know, on that as well, when you're talking about the slide rule, I was also just thinking about as a shortstop. As a shortstop, so much, you know, when we're working on double plays, it was just like on that play, you're used to coming across the bag all the time. And now it shifts, and we were just showing it with Peralta. Now you actually have to turn a double play like a second baseman. And I wonder how many guys, and I'm sure now, like I remember when I was playing, I never thought about going over there and working as a second baseman and taking a double play. We used to say, I don't want to be second baseman because it was a blind spot and they have to deal with the runner coming down. I'm glad I'm over here at short. But now with the shifts, you got to practice taking a double play like a second baseman. But with the new rules, it would make it a lot easier because you don't have that fear of them taking you out to left field like you used to.
He's safe, and the Diamondbacks have the bases loaded. So this is likely going to be a fielder's choice to allow Marte to reach, and then an E1 that keeps Peralta alive. And a good chance for Arizona here in the third with their best hitter coming up. Paul Goldschmidt, bases loaded, nobody out. Maeda got him on 3 pitches his first time for his only strikeout of the night so far. This time he's at the knees with a fastball for strike 1. Ripped by the back, strike 2.
These jams that Kenta has had to pitch out of in the first built a walk to Peralta. This one built from a walk to Greinke, and then a throwing error. So as far as pitching, he's doing fine. Just the 2 walks, that's really set the table, and then throwing the ball away. And those are 3 things that he normally doesn't do. He doesn't walk people, and he definitely doesn't throw the ball away as an athlete on the mound.
Yeah, he's a Gold Glover in Japan. Here he comes with an 0-2 and gets a big strikeout of Goldschmidt. Running that cutter under the bat over the outside corner for out number 1.
First at bat, he had to pitch out of a jam with Goldschmidt up there. It only took 3 pitches. They went fastball, slider that had good dip. Thinking about going up the ladder, but pulled it down and got him out. And now, here this at bat, the Diamondbacks' hottest hitter, the Dodger killer. He gets him with a fastball, a changeup, and then a cutter on the outside corner. 6 pitches, 2 strikeouts to the big man.
And now in a spot where a ground ball can get him out of this inning with no damage. Into Descalso. Gets by Grandal. Here comes Zach Greinke, and the Diamondbacks have taken a 2-1 lead. After all that work to get Goldschmidt, a wild pitch has Arizona back in front.
I think this ball hits Iasonia, the home plate umpire's shin guard. It does. Deflects towards the Dodger dugout. Kenta Maeda is doing a lot of things that are not Maeda-esque. The walks, the wild pitch, throwing the ball away. This has really been rough on him and rough on his catcher.
Both Arizona runs now reach base via the walk. One ball, one strike.
That wild pitch hurts in a huge way. Yes, score the run, but no double play now, and you got a guy on third and on second with one out. So much worse situation than having bases loaded.
Down the line, foul, 1-2. It's the direction Descalso went for an RBI single his first time up.
These left-handed hitters that are taking the fastball and the changeup to left field, he might want to throw his slider down and in and tie him up. They're trying to kind of deflect the ball over there, keep their hands in front of the barrel of the bat, maintain that angle as long as possible to kind of slice it. Hard to hit a slider down and in with that kind of bat angle.
Another wild pitch. And it's 3-1 Arizona. He had 4 wild pitches all of last season. He's got 2 in this one at bat.
The interesting thing too is we don't have a conference between Yasmani and Kenta right now on a cross-up. So that pitch was called. Yasmani knew what was coming, but it did the opposite. It was like a backup slider that just took off on him. That's a conversation for another day. You don't ask your pitcher and your catcher, maybe even in between innings or tonight, maybe after the game, but tomorrow you'll be asking some questions.
Dave Roberts pulls the infield in now.
Now, you said that Kenta has struggled against Arizona. This might be a little bit of over-processing with the walks, the wild pitches, throwing the ball away. Just a little bit too much anticipation about pitching to the Diamondbacks and too much respect.
Yanked foul. Completely different look than we saw in his 2 outings against San Francisco.
And I will admit it, you can overprocess some of these opponents where somebody just has your number and you are bearing down so much on the scouting report, you're bearing down so much on your warm-ups and how you want to execute that night. And you get to a point where you move so much material through your brain that you lose some athleticism.
Full count.
You study guys' strengths so much, all of a sudden the lineup becomes invincible. Instead of studying their weaknesses, yeah, I don't want to go there. Okay, but where can I go? Instead of think about what you can do to get people out instead of what they can hit.
Maeda to Descalso with a 3-2. It's sliced to left. Kemp is there, but it will bring home the 3rd run of the inning. All 3 runs really the result of wild pitches. 2 of them scoring on wild pitches. 1 of them moving to the doorstep because of the wild pitches.
Been wild to home and he's been wild to second.
Two outs, bases empty. Here's Chris Owings. Oh.
We are not piling on, but this is just not the Kenta we're used to seeing.
Corked foul. Ball on a strike. Kent is saying, man, whoever said it's downhill when you hit 30 was right.
He turned 30 on Wednesday.
Yeah. Here comes the 1-1. That was over the plate, but taken for strike 1 and 2.
These are those battles sometimes that you have, once every 6-7 outings where you just don't feel like yourself. But what you got to remember is it's early in the game. Your team's got plenty of outs to come back, and you can't give up. You got to keep working the equation because you might not be in there when your team finally catches up, but you got to give them a better chance than if you start giving up and not working the equation out there and trying to figure out a way to get them in the dugout.
The offense has gotten it going some lately. So 4-1 deficit is not insurmountable the way they've been swinging the bats. 10+ hits 4 games in a row. Fouled back, still 2-2.
I had an outing in Pittsburgh early in my career where I learned the lesson about not giving up. I just remember giving up 4 or 5 runs early in the first inning or 2. And I knew mentally I wasn't in the right place for the next couple innings, and I gave up another 4 or 5 runs, and all of a sudden it was like 10-1 or 11-1. My Dodgers came back and got like 9 runs, and it would have been a tie game, or we would have even won the game if I'd have just taken that mentality of that is over with, fight through this, and not given up those second group of 4 or 5 runs. And you learn that as a veteran. You start to learn these lessons as you watch games unfold that you've participated in, or even your teammates. And it's hard to convince yourself, but you got to go out there and just keep battling, even though it's not even close to how you planned to pitch.
7th pitch to Chris Owings. He's hit foul again. So did it not happen again after that one in Pittsburgh?
I think it happens all the time. You fight yourself at certain moments in the game, and you try to get back on track mentally and physically. But yeah, it became a shorter timeline for sure in every instance. So easy to concentrate when you're going good.
Yeah.
And even when you're going average.
Owings really making him work. .30 pitches in this inning for Greinke and Maeda.
I mean, in some ways, we're seeing a microcosm of what the Dodgers are fighting through here early in the season with their record and their individual performances. There are guys that are super hot and have thrown the ball well. It's Clayton Kershaw and others on the team.
Base hit to center field on the 9th pitch of the at-bat. Owings thinking 2 out of the box, and he's going to get there.
There are hitters that are looking for consistency on the team, and there's some fielders that are even looking to field better. And everybody's doing well for a certain amount of time, but not consistently yet where they're firing on all cylinders. And Greinke is battling through something here tonight. That was a hanging breaking ball.
That's Money Grandal out there. Now Rick Honeycutt and the interpreter Will Ireton will join them. Ross Stripling starting to warm in the Dodger bullpen. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home or in the office. Go on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium and plenty more. Visit MLB.tv for details. Happy birthday. All she wants to do is meet Justin Turner. I'm sure if Justin saw that,
he would definitely go out his way. Yep. I think everybody noticed the rhythm of that visit. Rick Honeycutt was first on the phone and took his time as the batter stepped in the box before he came out on the field. Made sure the visit was nice and long, so they're giving Ross Stripling as much time as possible to get ready as soon as possible.
With Gerard Dyson standing in. Dyson crushed the first pitch that he saw his first time, but Puig made a great play on it against the wall and right. A guy who was drafted in the very final round in 2006, 50th round of the draft. Out of Southwest Mississippi Junior College. What an unlikely 8-year Major League veteran. Now 33 years old. Swings and misses 0-2. Won a World Series with the Royals. And spent last season in Seattle. Signed a 2-year contract with Arizona this offseason. He's a little guy. He's a speedy guy. It's a speed, that standout tool that caught the attention of Kansas City when they drafted him. If you have that one tool that's just above and beyond, you've got a shot. He's very raw, but the speed afforded him the opportunity to let everything else develop. Ball and 2 strikes.
Kenta made the last out for the Dodgers in the bottom of the second, so Dave Roberts, if he wants to make a change, doesn't really have to worry about a double switch.
Now 1-2, ripped down the right field line. That's a base hit into the corner. Owens in to score. Back-to-back 2-out doubles, and it's 5-1 Arizona. Kenta Maeda's struggles against the Diamondbacks continuing. And this is going to be a short one. Just 2 2/3 for Maeda. 5 in the bank. Dyson his responsibility. And the bullpen getting to work in a hurry. Ross Stripling comes in when you come back. Checks in for Kenta Maeda. Stripling so far this season has pitched 8 innings, not given up a run.
He has been consistent. He has been great at what he's been doing. You see the opponent's average at 281. That's a little high, but he has pitched through traffic very, very well. And a guy the Dodgers really can depend on, and they're going to hope that he can eat some innings right here. There's been a flurry of off days and rainouts, but still, you don't want to go to the whole bullpen to get through this. You'd like to start a series off where maybe the bulk of the work ends up on Strip's shoulder to cover for Kenta's short outing.
Shortest, by the way, of his career. Matches one to finish his rookie season in San Francisco, where he also gave up 5. Dyson at second, 2 out, and Stripling gets Nick Ahmed. Strike 1. Ball on a strike. They've changed, by the way, the second wild pitch to a pass ball.
I think that Kenta will tell him it was a wild pitch. I don't think Yasmani has any chance at that ball.
It's a visit from Grandal. So we're only a few weeks into the season, but mound visits across baseball have been almost cut in half in the first few weeks with the new limit. The limit is 7 non-pitching change visits. A year ago, there was about an average of 7.5 per team per game. It's a little above 3.5 now, and you hardly even notice it.
Well, the rule has never really been enforced, but it sure has had a huge effect.
1-2. That's what you want, though, right? Like, you don't even recognize the rule is at work. They're doing what it intended.
And it really doesn't have a lot of teeth in it that it would drive people away. It just turned out to be awareness. And it shows how much the players are all on board to do what it takes to make baseball as exciting as possible and with as much action as possible.
There goes Marte on a bouncing ball to Seager at short. And that does it here in the third. But the Diamondbacks get 4 and chase Maeda 5-1 to the bottom of the third. Uphill climb tonight. He's been pretty good everywhere, but really good here, hitting above 300 in his career. A couple of 3 home run games in this ballpark. And he is the subject of our Dodgers spotlight on this Friday night. Top of the order coming up, so Seager will bat second after Chris Taylor leads it off against Zach Greinke. Led off the game against Greinke with a home run. It is the 6th time that Taylor started a game with a homer. The second time this week. Two and 0.
Diamondbacks brought 8 players to the plate last inning. That means that Zach Greinke had a long rest, and remember, he tweaked something early, so it was a long time to sit down. Can get a little stiff. It can also feel like you are out of rhythm. So he's out there. Started with the 2-0 count, got that changeup over right there. But if he can't feel it in this inning right away, it'd be a good time to try and capitalize.
On a 2-1, Taylor takes ball 3. Taylor's been really grinding away to try and get his season going. The average just above 200 coming in. Earlier today, he found something on video that he felt like might be a little mechanical tweak that could help get him back on track. Full count. And the first at-bat home run was any representation. Maybe he was right. What he saw on film was exactly what he needed to do. Question then becomes, once you ID it, how long does it take before you can fix it and put it to use in a game? On a 3-2 from Greinke, Taylor hits a ground ball foul.
Well, that started the Dodgers off, tied this game up with that beautiful swing, and whatever the mechanical fix or what he saw on video, it worked right away. And sometimes finding something, it's not specifically that part, but it clears your head and gives you some reason to think success is right around the corner.
Leading off this third. And punching a bouncing ball to Goldschmidt at first, who feeds Greinke. 1 out. Up comes Corey Seager, who struck out his first time, and we check in again with Nomar.
Well, speaking of mechanics, you know, we were talking about Corey Seager in his first at bat, working on really driving it the other way. But watch here, this is his last strikeout, his swing. Now look at his hips, how they're already starting to go toward the first base, and then all of a sudden his front shoulder starts to fly out. So he's almost already committed to the pull side. That's just something that after the game you go back as a hitter, you want to analyze. You're looking at your swing saying, okay, I'm thinking about going the opposite way or staying on the ball. And then you're going, all right, I got to work on making sure my body stays in there like that.
Strokes it to deep center, but Dyson is there at the edge of the warning track. That was a little better mechanically.
Oh, that was beautiful. That's one of those that you're going, man, I don't want to change a thing. It's unfortunate. You're upset with the result of it, but you're happy with the swing. Look at the hips. They're not flying out as far as we saw when he ended up swinging and missing, and he stayed on the ball. And that's exactly what he's trying to do, is drive that ball to the left center gap. He stayed on it. The front shoulder doesn't fly open. It stays on. Head on the ball. Perfect swing. Just unfortunate results. Stay right there.
Meanwhile, Zach Greinke has retired 6 in a row since hitting Yasmani Grandal, and gets strike one on Matt Kemp. Kemp's never had very much good luck against Greinke. Around 200 in his career against him.
Nomar with that front hip. Fans at home say, well, that front hip's got to open. Isn't the timing of it, how long it stays closed?
It is, and also you can see the direction. Sometimes your hip, it's going to naturally open. That is true. But if you saw when he swung and missed, it almost looked like he was sitting back and down when it was open rather than staying in a tick longer like that last one.
Marte runs under this pop-up from Kemp and finishes the Dodgers off in the third.
He was kind enough to join us today on the pregame set, and I asked him, being that it's Friday the 13th, first of all, what is he afraid of? And second of all, who is the most superstitious teammate that he has? He said, well, like everybody, snakes and spiders is what I'm afraid of. And he said it has to be Corey Seager. They are roommates. They come to and from the ballpark together. And he says anytime that Corey does anything good offensively, they have to do the exact same thing on the way into the ballpark. He wouldn't go into too many specifics, that he had to keep that close to the vest. But he said he's very, very, very superstitious, especially when things are going well.
Sounds about right. Sounds about like the guy that's breaking him down tonight. Strike one on Jeff Mathis. Nomar, you didn't have any nervous tics like that turned into superstitions, did you?
Well, I said, I was saying before the game, there's a difference between superstition and routine, and I had both, no question.
No, they did too. Paraskevidecatria-phobia. You ever heard of it?
No.
It afflicts somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 million Americans.
Okay.
It is the fear of Friday the 13th.
Wow. My fear is of the movie Friday the 13th.
Right. There's no scientific term for that one.
I'm not a big horror film guy.
Mathis down on strikes, one away here in the fourth. So apparently they say that on Friday the 13th, there's close to $1 billion lost in business.
Really?
National Geographic had a report that said this because of people are afraid to fly, number one. So you don't get the airplane tickets sold. And then people that are just afraid to go about their normal day of business and lose close to $1 billion.
If your stock's going down, you sell it because, wow, it'll keep going down because it's Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Wow. $1 billion.
Because of paraskevidecatria-phobia.
I'm glad you're pronouncing that.
At least I don't have to spell it. And a 1 to Greinke. Walked his first time up. And that started that 4-run inning against Maeda. Stripling ahead of him 0-2. Fouled off. There's at least one Friday the 13th every calendar year. As many as 3. 2 of them this year. Each one will be in July. You know, the Hollywood sign was finished on a Friday the 13th, 1923. Said Hollywood Land at that point. Which changed as the years went on. Tupac died on Friday the 13th. Alfred Hitchcock was born on Friday the 13th. And getting way out ahead of this one. Friday the 13th, April 2029. There's a 1,200-foot asteroid that's supposed to come really close to Earth. There are some really smart people out there, Oral.
Yeah. I hope they don't get that one right.
I hope they do. I hope it just comes close.
Yeah, close would be good. You're right.
Greinke fouls it off. Still 1-2. Ross Stripling, a lot on his shoulders tonight, trying to keep the Dodgers in this one after Maeda goes only 2 2/3. Giving up the run in the first and 4 in the third. Shot down the right field line, foul. Stripling trying to put Greinke away. Here's his 8th pitch to him. Sharp curve gets him swinging. Grandal tag him out. Back-to-back Ks to open the 4th.
You lose the last game 16-6 to the Oakland A's. You go have an off day, and in some ways, some guys want the off day, some guys don't. But then fall behind these Diamondbacks that have got off to such a hot start this year. Now you're down 5-1. You're looking for a way to pull this one out. Ross Stripling is in charge of preventing runs, and then the Dodger offense is in charge of waking up.
Peralta's reached both times, scored both times. Fastball for a strike. A 30-year-old from Venezuela in his 5th pro season. Swats a curveball into left center field. He's aboard again, this time with an extra base hit. 2-out double for David Peralta, who's gone walk, single, double tonight.
He has reached base in every game that he has started, and tonight reached base every at bat. A walk, single, and now the double, so he's on track for the cycle. Triples are awfully hard here in Dodger Stadium.
And now Marte, who has also reached both times. Single in the first, then reached on a fielder's choice and scored in the 4-run third. Breaking ball falls over the outside corner for a strike. Signed when he was 16 out of the Dominican Republic. Ketel Marte did with the Seattle Mariners. Debuted when he was 21. This is a highly touted prospect in the Mariners system. And then he was acquired in the Gene Segura deal a couple of years back. Diamondbacks surprised everybody, including Marte, when they signed him to an extension just days before this season. He's still a couple years away from reaching free agency, but they got ahead of it, signed him to a 5-year contract. And he asked, well, in this day and age of these big contracts, why would you want to sign for less? But Marte said his thoughts immediately went to his family. Has a wife, 2 sons, 2 daughters, 2 sisters back in the Dominican Republic that he takes care of. And the contract was an opportunity for him to not have to worry again about them. Stripling gets him and gets 3 Ks in the inning around the Peralta double. See if the offense can get it going to the bottom of the 4th.
21st, when the first 40,000 fans in attendance receive a Cody Bellinger bobblehead commemorating his National League Rookie of the Year award, courtesy of Spectrum. Visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
And Cody leads off this 4th inning. Has one of the 2 hits tonight against Zach Greinke. Chris Taylor started the night with a homer. Bellinger had a single against him later in that 1st inning. He's retired 7 in a row since that first. Outside corner for a strike, 1-1. Good work for Ross Stripling, inning and a 1/3 in relief of Greinke and Maeda. Strike 2. I think Cody has finally decided that it was the sushi that got him. San Francisco. He had the steak quesadilla after the sushi, and so you can understand how one would be confused. Fouls it off, stays alive. And if you're unfamiliar with that story, Cody dealt with bad food poisoning over the weekend. So did Alex Wood. Alex has lingered a little bit longer. First time Bellinger's ever dealt with something like that. Said sushi is not ruined for him, but steak quesadillas are. Another 1-2 from Greinke, and Bellinger takes it in the dirt for ball 2.
I bet you they're not going back to that restaurant, though.
No, I wouldn't.
What day of the week were they eating that sushi?
Friday night. And then he played in the 14-inning game on Saturday. Bouncing ball to first base, and Goldschmidt will win the race to the bag for the first out.
See, that should be a good day to eat sushi because they got a Friday delivery to get ready for the weekend. Some sushi restaurants get deliveries 6 out of 7 days a week. Don't eat a lot of sushi on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Who knew? The more you know.
Well, you're not a sushi guy, so.
No.
I'll always ask the chefs when you sit down at the sushi bar what was fresh today. It's always good if you put it like a $10 bill also up on the bar at the same time you ask the question.
Grandal rolls one along first. Greinke picks it up and throws him out. That thing was about to go foul. And Greinke able to spring on it before it did.
Really understanding time and space here, because once the runner goes by you and you see that ball going foul, you have to really know the play and your abilities. You have a tendency to think the runner's gone by me, I shouldn't pick this up. But Zach Greinke knows that there was still a long way to go down that line for Grandal.
Two gone for Puig. Worked the count full his first time and struck out. Here he takes ball 1 inside. Swats it to right center. Owings will come on and catch it. And the inning is over. Zach Greinke has settled in and retired 10 in a row, pitching with a 5-1 lead. California Toyota dealers. Toyota's Thrill to Drive sales event is going on now. Check out amazing deals on a stylish new Corolla. That was one of the great batteries in the 1920s. On the left is Hank DeBerry. On the right is the Hall of Fame pitcher Dazzy Vance. And on this date in 1922, he made his debut with Brooklyn at age 31. He pitched in a handful of big league games before that when he was in his early 20s, but he spent most of his 20s dealing with nagging arm pain, bouncing around the minors, trying to get healthy, trying to crack the rotation, get an opportunity. Here's Baez to pitch the 5th for the Dodgers in a 5-1 hole. Right after Dazzy Vance turns 29 years old. And so at this point, you're far enough along in your life and your career where you probably are what you are. But he was playing poker with his teammates while he was in the minors. Goldschmidt to lead off the 5th against Baez. Was raking in a pot. This is something you can relate with, Mr. Poker, Hershiser. But he banged his arm on the end of the table while he was raking in the pot. This ball went outside. And it hurt him to the point where he went in and got it looked at. Doctor said, you know what? I think we need to operate on you. And so they go in and they fix the injury from the poker table. And whatever it is that they fixed the underlying problem in his arm that had kept him from becoming much of anything as a pitcher to that point. As he said, it was an odd thing. He woke up one morning and learned that he could throw again with no pain, like he was a teenager again. Signed with Brooklyn the next year. Spent 12 years with them. 7 years in a row he led the National League in strikeouts. Goldschmidt fouls it off 2-1. Wanted to pitch until he was 44 years old. Won almost 200 games.
That's crazy. It really is. I wonder what that surgery was that he had done.
Yeah. Baez deals 2-1. And Goldschmidt hits a fly ball to right. Yasiel Puig coming on for the first out of the inning.
Little did he know how much money he would get from that poker pot.
Right?
He raked it in, got hurt, got the surgery, and went on to have a great career and make even more money because of that pot.
That surgery you're talking about, I mean, did they really have any idea what the surgeries were for another, what, half century?
Oh, I don't know, but I'm going to go play poker, try and hurt my arm, maybe make a comeback.
I like it. One out for Descalso.
You know that was good if the booth boss laughs, and he was laughing.
Strike one.
That reminds me, because when Vin Scully would tell stories, he would tell them to Boyd.
Yep.
And it made him feel like he was telling it to an audience, and he had the right rhythm and the right pacing, and he would read Boyd's facial expressions on how the story was going.
It's a bouncer foul, and it's 0-2. Yeah, Boyd really was the personification of the TV audience for Vin in a lot of ways. Baez handling the 5th for the Dodgers. Home with an 0-2 to Descalso. On the inside corner, strike 3 with a slider.
Right fielder Chris Owens.
Target sometimes is a reminder what you want the ball to do. It's not always the exact place. That's what good catchers understand, your spray pattern. And Yasmani had the glove down in the dirt, but he got a strike right on the corner because he knows maybe Baez's tendency is to leave that ball up, so he wanted to force it down there by the corner by giving him that good reminder of a low target.
With 2 outs, it's Owens, and he takes a strike. Yasmani Grandal, top 5 in all of baseball last year in stealing strikes. Austin Barnes is in the top 10 as well, and that's really impressive for both those guys because that's a cumulative thing. And they're splitting time. 0-2. together, you put together what they do defensively with the framing and what they did offensively last year. The Dodgers at catcher had the second highest wins above replacement in baseball. Wins above replacement loves a good defensive catcher. Baez looking for a 1-2-3 fifth. It's up and in for ball one. Two and two. Wins above replacement loves it. Good defensive catcher as much as it hates an average DH. Really docks DHs when it's trying to come up with their value overall. So you don't bring anything to the table defensively, obviously, as a DH. So you better be darn good at the plate, as that's all your value. An example of that, I think Nomar and I went over this during some of the Freeway Series games, but Albert Pujols, who had a decent, by some measures, offensive season in the home runs and the RBIs, the traditional categories, but was not a good base runner, hit into a lot of double plays, and provided no value defensively. That's how you got a negative WAR for Albert Pujols last year. Owens down on strikes. Pedro Baez through the heart of the order. 1-2-3 in the fifth. Halfway home, the Dodgers down 5-1.
Them for a chance to be named a Spectrum Sports Championship Drive Scholar Athlete and receive a $2,500 college scholarship. Go to SpectrumChamp.com now for more information.
5-1 Arizona to the bottom of the fifth inning. Logan Forsythe leads off against Zach Greinke and takes a strike. Greinke in the first needed 25 pitches. And remember, he was grimacing and looked like he might not even stay in the game. Some kind of upper body bothersome thing going on for him. But since then, 28 pitches in 3 innings.
When he and Clayton Kershaw were teammates for those years.
Forsythe chops one to third for Descalso.
They're not even. They didn't compete like, oh, I've got to get a win, you got to win. But I did
Number 14.
bounce ideas off each other. And as pitch count became real sensitive and getting through the order the third time, they both pushed each other to be more efficient and to really get control of their pitch count. And they took pride in going, 7, 8 innings. And if they had one of those big pitch count innings, they took that idea to the mound like, I've got to get that down. I am going to attack.
Hernandez gets under a first pitch fastball and skies it into short center. 2 up, 2 down. Now Kershaw and Greinke combined in those 3 years, Oral, were 104 and 34. And Kershaw winning back-to-back Cy Youngs the first 2 years that Greinke was in town. They finished second and third in 2015. Greinke was second, Kershaw was third behind Jake Arrieta. As good of a 1-2 punch as there's been in the last decade or so. Kyle Farmer bats here in the bottom of the 5th inning in the pitcher's spot, taking a strike. Yeah, it looks like it'll be Josh Fields next. Base hit to left center. Pinch hit single for Kyle Farmer, snapping a run of 12 in a row, retired by Greinke.
Kyle Farmer has proven to be a very effective bat off the bench. We have seen many a Dodger on this roster take part-time playing time at bats and turn it into a starting job. The Justin Turners, the Chris Taylors, Kike Hernandez working his way up that totem pole.
Taylor homered against him in the first inning. Here he takes ball 1 high. If he could somehow do it again, this would be a different game. Dodgers playing 12 games over the next 13 days as the season tries to find some rhythm. All these off days early on, the rain out, the long extra innings losses. It's just been funky. 2-0.
We usually start talking about the late innings around the 7th, but as Yogi used to say, down 5-1, it's getting late early.
Coming inside on a 2-0 and leaving it over the plate. Taylor takes it for a strike, 2-1. Greinke, 34 years of age now, from Orlando, Florida. Two-one. Bottom of the zone, strike 2.
Speed differential might not be there with the changeup compared to the fastball, but the movement and the location is still outstanding. Borderline, got it called.
Lays off this changeup to run the count full. And Farmer can get a head start from first. If Taylor can reach, Seager would bat. There goes Farmer, 3-2, inside corner, strike 3. Just one base runner for the Dodgers over the last 4 innings against Greinke, and they trail at 5-1. Here comes Josh Fields. Brought to you by Jack in the Box. Try the new Cholula Buttery Jack, part of the Buttery Jack family, only at Jack in the Box. That's Corey Seager in high school in Kannapolis, North Carolina, about a 20-minute drive north of Charlotte. First round pick of the Dodgers a few years back. Actually, the guy that really wanted Corey Seager to get drafted by his team is the one facing him tonight. Zach Greinke was with the Brewers, and Greinke very much involved in his team's draft scouting and scouting of amateurs. Sits in the draft room occasionally, and he really wanted the Brewers to get Seager, but they picked a few picks after the Dodgers and had to take a different route. Josh Fields comes in, 5-1 game in the 6th inning. Rod Dyson out of the 6th spot, shows bunt and stabs through it for a strike. Punch down the left field line. That'll tail into the seats. Fields ahead of him 0-2. Making his 7th appearance of the season now. Giving up just 1 run. It came in Wednesday night's game, and really who didn't on Wednesday night. One and 2. 16 runs the Dodgers allowed. That was the most in 5 years in this ballpark. It's only the 4th time in the history of Dodger Stadium that they'd allowed 16. The staggering thing was that they had only given up 2 runs total in their first 5 home games before the 16 Wednesday night. Two balls, 2 strikes on Dyson.
Alex Wood started that game and was really off his game, and you could see that there might be some lingering effects from that food poisoning. They adjusted the schedule, moved back his start for that, but he still looked a little out of sync, and he would never say there were excuses out there because of that, but it was definitely an issue.
Dyson climbs the ladder, and here's a pop-up and foul ground at 3rd for Logan Forsythe. New Dodger mini plans are on sale now. You can choose from 3, including the 11-game bobblehead plan featuring the Kenley Calrissian Star Wars bobblehead presented by Pirelli. Pricing starts at $24 for those mini plans. Go to Dodgers.com/mini plans to learn more. With 1 out in the 6th, here's Nick Ahmed. In the dirt for ball 1. We've been talking about the Seager brothers tonight. The Ahmed brothers are both baseball players. His younger brothers in the Dodgers minor league system. Mike, if you follow any Dodgers spring training games, you may be familiar with. He came over from the minor league side a few times. Ball and a strike. Nick went to UConn. His brother Mike went to Holy Cross, and they got to play each other in college. 16-inning game, and they called it a tie. Perfect result for his parents, right?
As long as each guy got a hit.
Or 2 or 3.
Exactly.
Same number.
Yep.
1 and 2.
Dodger relief pitchers working on being the player of the game as a group. If the Dodgers come back and win this one, Stripling, Baez, and now Field part of that winning equation.
Grounded foul. Josh just became a dad. Nick became a dad last summer. Jackson James, they named their baby boy. So while he was on the disabled list with a broken wrist, so there was at least a little bit of a silver lining to it that he could be home for his wife Amanda, and then around Jackson a little more often than he would have had he been healthy. Got to see his first steps, got to hear his first words. 3 balls and 2 strikes. A 1-out walk.
Trying to do something different than Kenta Maeda did when he gave up the walk. They ended up scoring. Kenta gave up 5 runs. Those 5 Arizona runs, only 2 were earned. But the walks hurt him.
1-on-1 out for Jeff Mathis. Longtime Angel, Jeff Mathis, who learned so much from Mike Scioscia in his time playing there. Looks at a strike. And all about the intangibles with Mathis, because by some measures, since he debuted in the majors back in 2005, he's been the single worst offensive player in the game. And here he is in his 14th year. He's got to be doing something. And you say, well, he's a catcher, so he's probably a really good framer, really good defensive catcher. Well, he's league average when it comes to catching runners stealing. Pitch framing grades out just above average. But he's known as a great leader and really praised for his game calling and how he handles the staff, which is the thing that he says he most took away from Mike Scioscia in Anaheim.
Scioscia was amazing in his preparation and then in his game calling ability, but also the way he managed your emotions on the mound too.
Field strikes him out. Grandal pulling that one back down into the zone for out number 2.
Pitcher, Zach Greinke.
Frame. One catcher frames another.
Get a tip of the cap from Mathis on that. Two gone for Greinke, who's walked and struck out.
I can honestly say I didn't think we'd still see him around after the way he looked in the first inning.
Especially not doing what he's doing.
He has really put it together from looking like he needs to come out of the game to dazzling the Dodgers.
Kyle Farmer's pinch hit single last inning, the only base runner against Greinke since the first. Said before he was a pitcher, he was a shortstop. Before he was a shortstop, he was a childhood tennis star. Quit tennis when he was 8 or 9, started playing baseball then. Two balls and a strike on Greinke. Strike 2.
Challenging him with the heater. Zach will ambush swing, but he doesn't look like he really wants to swing the bat tonight with what he's dealing with or dealt with. And now he's disappeared. He don't want to reactivate whatever he irritated in the first. Pretty good hack right there.
Down the right field line, foul. First of 3 this weekend between the teams. Rich Hill for the Dodgers tomorrow against Taijuan Walker. And then on Sunday it's Kershaw against Zach Godley, who's been their best pitcher so far. It's not been Greinke, it's not been Ray. Not even been Patrick Corbin, although he's been really good as well. Greinke looks at strike 3. Josh Fields with a scoreless 6. That's 3 1/3 scoreless innings for the bullpen. 2, 3, and 4 coming up for the Dodgers, down 5-1.
Of the 6th inning right now, just a 2.05 average, which certainly isn't where he wants to be. Primarily batting in the 2-hole this season. Dave Roberts had this to say about potentially dropping him down in the lineup.
Still think that him in the box in the number 2, and we had him in the number 3 a couple days ago, but is a presence and poses fear to the opposing team. So with him, I don't plan on moving him.
So no potential, I guess. Of course, he could move him down with a proven track record that he's got over his 2+ seasons in the majors. Just a matter of time before he gets it going, and everybody in the organization seems to feel the same way about that. 0 for 2 so far in this one against Zach Greinke, who's back out there for the bottom of the 6th. Swings at the first pitch, grounds it to second, and Marte will throw him out. Didn't even get to bring you in, Omar.
No worries. I mean, I was thinking about his last at bat when he drove it to center field, and I'm thinking as I'm coming up to this at bat, if I'm him, I'm like, just stay right there, stay on the ball. And what Alana was talking about, they have no desire to move him out of the second spot or up in the lineup. A lot of that's still communication, because there's a couple of ways to address it. Sometimes you're going, listen, the more at bats, the more you're going to figure it out. And we're going to keep you up there, and he's willing to accept that. The other is maybe if I move you down, if you feel it can just relieve some of the pressure you might be putting on yourself, then that might be something to consider. But a lot of that has to deal with communication. I guarantee you, if you ask somebody like Corey Seager, he's going to say, listen, I can stay in the 2 spot, I can work myself out of it, I can get the reps, and I'm going to try to help every single day.
Kemp slashes it foul 0-2. Seager in his last 2 ABs, Nomar has swung at the first pitch, something that you guys also have in common of doing a lot.
Right, and I don't mind that. It's, you know, obviously I don't mind that, and people are going to say, well, you're struggling, why you swing at the first pitch, seeing more pitches. Not always the case when it comes to that. It's funny, he's probably mad at himself in his first at bat where he struck out, and one of the best pitches he had and he ended up taking was the first pitch, which was a mistake by Greinke, and he found himself behind in the count. The next pitch, he drives it. The next pitch right there, he hit it hard. It was just on the ground. Sometimes that first pitch, you're ready. That's your strength. And you also can learn a lot. If you happen to foul that up, you can learn something from your swing.
Kemp chases, 2 out. Zach Greinke has had the Dodgers in the palm of his hand since that rocky first inning. It's now 6 strikeouts and only 1 base runner over the last 5. 2 gone for Cody Bellinger. Difference right now, the 4-run third against Greinke and Maeda. 3 of those 4 runs came in with the benefit of just 1 hit. There was a wild pitch, there was a pass ball, there was an error, there was a walk. Bellinger hits a towering drive to right field. That ball is gone. Third time he's taken Greinke deep, and it's 5-2.
Time now for a so-called Ford replay, and Zach Greinke tried to sneak the fastball by him. The changup's been an outstanding pitch for him, but that fastball right there, not enough gas on it to get it by Cody.
A strike on Grandal. So 2 runs on 2 solo home runs tonight. The power's coming around Doral, but there's just nobody on base when they're hitting them. Out of the 11 home runs this season, 9 have been solo home runs. A ball and a strike.
Chris Taylor home run in the first that led off the game for the Dodgers. That tied the score at 1 was on a fastball off of Greinke, and now Cody Bellinger catches up to 1.
Bellinger got him the first game that he faced him as a rookie last year. Got him in the division series clinching game 3. And gets him again here in the 6th. A generous outside corner strike on Grandal, 2-2. So Bellinger and this guy here, Grandal, now tied for the team lead with the 2 home runs. Grandal got his second in the Dodgers' last game. On another 2-2 pitch. Swings wildly and misses at a ball in the dirt for strike 3. And that ends the 6th. But the Dodgers get 1 back. Cody Bellinger with a monster home run after his 39-homer rookie campaign. He's gone deep for the 2nd time here in 2018. On, and here's what's coming up over the next week. 2 more with these Diamondbacks, and then they head down to San Diego for the first meetings with the Padres this season. That off day Thursday is just like every Thursday this month. But then they'll get a little bit more rhythm. This is the start of a 13-day stretch where they'll play 12 times. Tony Cingrani's on for the 7th, and normally the complaints are, man, it's been a long time without an off day. Strike 1 on Peralta, but with how choppy things have been early on, I think everybody's kind of looking forward to a run without some off days.
I don't think there's any question that the guys are ready to get into a rhythm of doing something every single day. You win, you feel like you're on a roll. You lose, you get right back at it the next day.
Cingrani for the top of the order here in the 7th, trying to continue what's been really nice relief work. After Maeda gave up the 5 runs in 2 2/3. 3 1/3 scoreless innings out of the pen. Trying to do what nobody's been able to do tonight. That is retire Peralta, who's got a walk, a single, and a double.
Dodger relievers have faced 12 batters and struck out 7 of them. Last year they were 4th in the major leagues coming out of the bullpen and striking out guys at almost a 30% clip.
Tonight it was Stripling for an inning and a 1/3. Inning from Baez, inning from Fields. And only 2 base runners against the bunch. Cingrani to Peralta with a 1-2 and a strikeout to open the 7th.
8 out of 13 struck out by the Dodger bullpen. Dave Roberts and Rick Honeycutt going a little different strategy with Ross Stripling early, not using him more as a long man, but just as another inning or so. When you're going to play these many games in a row now, he doesn't want to lose one of his bullpen pieces for 2-3 days because he extends them. He'd rather use everybody just a little bit and have everybody available every day.
Ball 1 on Ketel Marte. Saw on our Nissan calendar that the Padres are due next for the Dodgers. Did you see what happened to them last night?
I did not.
7-0 shutout loss to San Francisco. They were held to 1 hit, and that 1 hit came from a pinch hitting Clayton Richard.
Oh, wow.
It was the first time in baseball history that a team got held to 1 hit, and that lone hit came from a pinch hitting pitcher. 1-2.
That is crazy, and crazy that it happened and he got a hit. And I guess you think about baseball that I wonder how many pinch hitting pitchers even had an opportunity to break up a no-hitter. It might even been the first time that ever happened.
And he didn't even pitch in the game. He came on, he pinch hit, didn't stay in to actually pitch. Marte swings wildly. That's back-to-back Ks for Cingrani. And another K for this bullpen, which has been racking them up.
Well, in the day and age of deeper bullpens, that means shorter benches. So you've had some pitchers starting to pinch hit this year. Clayton Kershaw did it, right?
Yep.
Not sure if
Ryu.
Yeah, I was going to say Ryu. We had we walked a pitcher that was going to bunt against us that came up as a pinch hitter.
Jorge De La Rosa.
Yep.
That was a reliever who had, I think, already checked in.
I'm not sure about that one.
Was he pinch hitting? He definitely pitched. Strike 1 on Goldschmidt.
Did he go up to possibly sacrifice, then go out and pitch after that?
Right, that's a question.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. It's been so many games this year.
11 down and long way to go. 1-1 on Goldschmidt. Really is amazing the Diamondbacks are where they're at, with Paul Goldschmidt hitting 178 and not homering until 2 games ago against San Francisco.
You were right, Oral. So De La Rosa in that series in Phoenix, he pinch hit. They walked him, and that was his night. He didn't pitch.
What led us down that rabbit hole was just the fact that more and more pitchers are pinch hitting because of the 8-man bullpens. The Dodgers had a 9-man bullpen when Kenta was down there before this start tonight for a while. You might see your best hitting pitcher if you're not worried about possibly getting injured. I don't see Clayton Kershaw becoming a pinch runner, but I could see him being a pinch hitter.
That's Ross Stripling's job.
Exactly. You can only get so many roles on a team. So he gets ace and first pinch hitter as a pitcher.
Here comes a 2-2. Goldschmidt. That's it foul.
Friday night fireworks crowd is just waiting for something to happen. 2 outs here. Cingrani trying to get him in the dugout, and the Dodgers want some early fireworks before the explosions in the sky.
Gets in on Goldschmidt. This will be a tough play. Bellinger twirls and throws wildly. Goldschmidt aboard to keep the 7th going.
Cody has so much range, but Kike is probably has the easier play, not because he receives the ball first where Cody can cut it off, but because he's going to have a better angle on the throw. As you see right there with Kike making the cut in, would have been a much easier feed for Kike and Cingrani to get on the same page compared to Cody, who can probably do that 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10 times, just didn't happen to do it on that one.
So Descalso bats. That's a tough one on an official score. They give Goldschmidt a base hit.
In some ways, you want to call it a fielder's choice. Goldschmidt gets a hit. The fielder's choice could have been that Bellinger decided to catch it.
Chose to field it.
Yeah, he chose. He turned it into a hit by catching it. Or if it goes through to Kike and throws it to Cingrani, I think they probably get him out. If he beats it out then he earned the hit.
It's in for a strike. Descalso had 2 RBIs coming in. He has 2 tonight on a first inning single and on a sac fly in that 4-run third. Cingrani's 0-1. Half-hearted swing and a miss on a sweeping slider. 0-2. Time is called. There's a beach ball. It's gotten down to the warning track. Chris Taylor saved the day on that. It's on that thing in a hurry. We're already ready to go again. '28-year-old Tony Cingrani out of Evergreen Park, Illinois. Setting and firing 0-2, and a nice stop by Grandal. Fouled off. It's an MVP chant going on for something in the loge. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's for Dan Descalso. 2-2. Towering fly ball to right, and Puig doesn't even move. Descalso with a bomb, and the Diamondbacks lead at 7-2. Both of his home runs against the Dodgers, one against Kershaw and now one against Cingrani.
Right fielder number 16, Chris Owings.
An Arco top-tier play, and this is not a Dodger highlight. A breaking ball that's up in the zone. Dodger bullpen had been dominating to this point, but that Arco top-tier play puts the Diamondbacks up 7-2.
Chris Owings with 2 outs takes the ball. Arizona trying to beat the Dodgers for the 10th consecutive regular season meeting. Slips out of Cingrani's hand. 2 balls, no strikes. And it just goes to show you how different October is. This team has beaten the Dodgers 9 times in a row, trying for a 10th in a row. The Dodgers swept them aside 3 games in the division series, right in the middle of that 9-game streak. Two and one.
That streak does not include in the total of just the regular season streak that they're going for, because if they win tonight and win their 10th game in their first 13 tries, it'll be the first time in franchise history that the Diamondbacks have started a year off like this.
Franchise launched in '98. Had 3 division titles in their first 5 years of existence. The World Championship in '01. But only 3 trips to the playoffs in 15 years since then. They're hoping that they can make it back-to-back trips.
It was the Kurt Schilling and Randy Johnson year.
Right. It's the only time they've made back-to-back trips. After the World Series trip in '01, they went again in '02. Last year was their first trip to the postseason in 6 years. Actually, first time they'd finished above 500 in 6 years. Torey Lovullo's first year. Chagua warming. Strike 3 swinging, and the inning is over. But the Diamondbacks add 2 on the Descalso home run, and we stretch at Dodger Stadium. Dodgers presented by your Southern California
All right,
Ford
thanks,
dealers.
Joe. The Dodgers trying to avoid their first 4-8 start in 24 years. But, Ned, they have some work to do. After the game, Ned and Jerry will break down what we hope is a come-from-behind victory.
Right now, a 7-2 deficit as Yasiel Puig leads off the 7th against Zach Greinke and swings and misses. Who would have thought Zach Greinke would still be going at this point, having thrown only 79 pitches. It was a 25-pitch first inning. Gave up a leadoff home run to Chris Taylor. Looked like he might come out. The training staff had to come take a look at him. But really, since he was able to battle through that, he's been nearly untouchable. Single for Farmer and the home run for Bellinger. That's it. That's the 1-1 fly. And Puig takes ball 2. Three balls and a strike. And the Descalso home run just totally changes the mood after the Dodgers had taken a little bit of momentum on the Bellinger homer.
It goes from a tight game that you feel like you got a chance to win to a blowout if you don't get right back at it right now. Zach Greinke's #1 asset tonight as being able to command both edges of the plate, the inside edge and the outside edge, and have the ball moving in different directions towards those corners. To righties, that cutter and slider to the outside corner, and then throwing that down and in changeup. Walks you away into that left-hand batter's box, then all of a sudden he'll pull the trigger on the changeup that looks like it's going to be down the middle and then comes towards your knees. And he's done such a good job throwing it for strikes. The action on his changeup, not only is the bottom dropped out of it when he's looking for a swing and a miss, but movement when he can keep it for a strike has been effective too.
Big fouls off a third in a row. Still 3-2. Pretty well publicized that these two guys were not best friends. Quite different personalities. A little added incentive, added motivation in these matchups for these two. Here comes Greinke with another 3-2, and Puig swings away and pops it foul again.
If Yasiel hits one where he knows it's gone, you might get a bat flip out of him.
Might.
You might get a really good bat flip.
Yeah.
The only thing that might calm it down is the fact that Arizona's up 7-2.
This will be the 9th pitch that Greinke's got to deal in. And it rides inside for ball 4. And we got a little dance on a walk.
You got to start. You got to start somewhere, and the walks have hurt the Dodgers. I want to see if they can have a walk hurt Zach.
First of the night for Greinke. Here comes Logan Forsythe. Oh for 2 tonight, average at 167. Through 11 games last year, Justin Turner was hitting .359. Through 11 games this year, Dodger third baseman hitting .167. A strike on Forsythe. And so it's just one way to look at how they're missing Justin Turner, but it feels like the bigger ways that they're missing him, it's almost the intangible part of having his presence in the lineup. Grounded by the bag and off of Descalso. Puig headed for third. Forsythe headed for second with a double. And the Dodgers with something brewing in the 7th.
A walk and a routine ground ball that just happens to be in the right place. Scalzo can't reach it, slowing it down and deflecting it, turns it into a double.
Some stirring down in that Diamondbacks bullpen now, and some life in Dodger Stadium. T.J. McFarland. Next pitch for Greinke will be his 90th. Kike Hernandez, who thinks that he found something with that home run in the 9th inning on Wednesday night. Gets a first pitch fastball over the outside corner, strike one. Jock Peterson, who has homered against Greinke before, in the on-deck circle. Austin Barnes has a bat as well. Ground ball wide of the bag.
Only Zach Greinke's third start of the year, but this is the longest he's gone as far as pitch count.
Innings as well. Pretty darn good his first time out against the Rockies, but coming off a rough one. He gave up 5 in 5 innings at St. Louis Saturday. Dodgers with 2 in the bank, knocking on the door, nobody out in the 7th. Hernandez hits a bouncing ball that Greinke fields with a bare hand and throws to first to get him. And the runners stay put.
Whatever was bothering him in his back or his rib cage in the first inning is not bothering him on this play. 92 pitches under his belt, and he bare hands this one, twists and fires accurately to Goldschmidt. He is a great athlete. You saw earlier when he came to the plate, 216 career average as a pitcher. Great fielder, great feel for the game, and he saved a run there and really prevented this rally from really blossoming.
Austin Barnes has been announced as the pinch hitter. Jeff Mathis going out there, giving T.J. McFarland a little more time to warm up and perhaps delivering. And as I'm saying that, I'm going to stop myself there. There's no chance that Zach Greinke needs a scouting report delivered. He's as prepared as any pitcher there's ever been. He was just buying time. And it will be up to the bullpen to try and protect what Greinke's done. Dodgers putting something together here. 2nd and 3rd after the double from Forsythe. Still a long way to go as T.J. McFarland comes in. Is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. 7-2 game, 7th inning. Zach Greinke is out after 6 1/3, having allowed the 2 runs, and the men at 2nd and 3rd his responsibility. It'll be up to T.J. McFarland to try and preserve his line. Impressive stuff from Greinke tonight, battling through whatever was ailing him in that first inning. McFarland on for the 3rd time this season, and he's on to face Austin Barnes before the top of the order comes back up. Puig at 3rd, Forsythe at 2nd. Barnes takes a strike. He had pretty much taken over the primary catcher duties at the end of last season, but the opposite has happened early this year. Legrandal's performance has meant that Barnes has taken a back seat to him. Off of the bench here in the 7th. 1 ball, 1 strike. A year ago, this was the moment in the game where you just knew they were going to find a way. The only question was who was going to do it, who was going to be the hero on that given night. 2-1.
One of the key ingredients of last year's team, with all those dramatic comebacks and blow away wins, was just the fact that they would pass the baton. They're here with first base open. If he doesn't get any strikes, Austin Barnes will take the walk and hand it over to Chris Taylor.
Punch to first. Goldschmidt looked home and then took it to the bag, and the runners hold.
Very subtle bluff of throwing the ball home. Shut down Yasiel Puig, but down by 5 runs. The Dodgers do not want to run into an out or lose a runner from scoring position. This ball is hit over there. Goldschmidt uses the charging action and the arm coming up to freeze Puig, who had broke but froze as soon as Goldie gloved the ball.
At 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. 2nd and 3rd and 2 out, and it's up to Chris Taylor now. Who had many of those big hits a year ago. You know, just to build off what you're saying, how it was always pass the baton to get those come from behind wins and those dramatic finishes. They had double-digit walk-off wins last year without a walk-off homer. Here's a 1-0 in the dirt. Good stop by Mathis. Of course, that was during the regular season. Justin Turner in the National League Championship Series with his famous walk-off home run. Taylor in a hitter's count here. 2nd and 3rd, 2 out. 2-0. Ball 3 with Seager due next. That's a strike, 3-1. Taylor and Bellinger both belting their 2nd home runs of the season tonight. A 3-1 pitch. Just caught the knees. 3-2.
Boy, that's a ball. That is a ball.
Is ahead 3-0, now 3-2. Here's the next one. Gently hit up along 3rd. Barehand Descalso. His throw is late. Puig's in to score. It's 7-3, and Corey Seager's coming to the plate.
Low sinker called for a strike prior to this, so Chris Taylor has to protect that lower part of the strike zone. He does with a little squibber. The Dodgers haven't hit it super hard this inning, but they've gotten a run back, and they are still hitting.
And now Nomar Seager finds himself in a spot that players like him love to be in.
Especially when we talked about his struggles early in this season. These are the opportunities where you're going, listen, got to force yourself not to try to do too much. I mean, it's not about a home run here. It's about just getting a good pitch to drive and keep passing the baton like you said.
Takes ball one low. 0 for 3 tonight. Average shooting right at 200. One-0. Outside corner for a strike. Puig walked to start the inning against Greinke. Forsythe doubled. Infield single from Taylor, bringing Puig home. How big does the Descalso home run look now? 2-run shot last inning against Cingrani. The big inning was the third. The Diamondbacks got 4 against Greinke and Maeda. Now McFarland's 1-1 pitch, and Seager. It's a bouncing ball, base hit into center field. Taylor heads first to third on an RBI single from Corey Seager that makes it a 7-4 game.
Well, we were talking about after his first at bat where he strikes out. The next at bat, he drives the ball up the middle to center field for a fly out. It's kind of the left center. Then he grounds hard to second base, and then he still stays with that same approach. He's able to get rewarded. Yeah, multiple hops on that ground ball, but it was the approach to stay up the middle to get a nice RBI.
They get the tying run to the plate. It will not be against TJ McFarland, though. Troy Lavella with a double switch. A.J. Pollock's coming in. Archie Bradley's coming in to face Matt Kemp, who will represent the tying run when you come back. To right as A.J. Pollock comes into the game in a double switch, replacing Chris Owings. He'll bat 4th next inning in the pitcher's spot as Archie Bradley comes on for the 9th time this season, and a guy that has turned himself into one of the top relievers in the game, facing Matt Kemp representing the tying run. Three hits and a walk in the inning. Taylor's at third and Seager's at first. Bradley's first one. Kemp fouls it off. 96.
Bradley is their ace out of the bullpen. They use him anywhere. The highest of leverage situation, no matter what inning.
Outside for a ball. Now Kemp moved up into that 3 spot for the first time this season, and the big moment finds him there. (7-4) in the 7th, the 1-1. Bullseye for strike 2 at 97.
Highest velocity and best location so far. This is very hard to hit. Looks like a ball tails back onto that corner.
That is through for another base hit. Matt Kemp with an RBI single. The line keeps on moving, and it's a 2-run game.
Dodger offense has been snake bit most of the year. Some exit velocities that don't fall in for hits, but this inning they're getting a lot of it back. They have not hit the ball hard, but they have found holes. Seager found a hole up the middle. Kemp finds this hole up the middle. Chopper off the plate that ended up being a hit. They are back in this game.
With 3 consecutive singles, 7-5, tying run aboard. Go-ahead run at the plate in the form of Cody Bellinger, who went deep his last time.
Got an inside fastball from Zach Greinke. Chris Taylor had one to lead off the game for the Dodgers, and the one for Bellinger was a belly bomb.
Takes ball 1 from Bradley. Driven to center field. Pollock's back on it. Edge of the warning track with room. He just missed it. Flying out to the 395 side. The Dodgers back in the game with a 3 spot in the 7th.
Seager's focus of driving that ball into left center. Well, he does it on that bat. It's a line drive. This one, his body was still staying on. His just timing where he's out in front just a little bit. But still, with the same mentality of going up the middle, he's able to get rewarded with a nice and big RBI.
3 consecutive 2-out RBI singles for the Dodgers in that inning. And it's 7-5 as we go to the 8th, and JT Chargois comes on. Rod Dyson leads this inning off. And looks at a strike on a fastball with a lot of movement to it. Chargois trying to get back in the saddle, even though the ERA is spotless. Hasn't been quite as sharp the last 2 times out. Thing takes off on him, and it's 1-1.
He could rattle the cage of the home plate umpire Dan Iasonia. Yasmani trying to give him a little break.
Now Dyson, Torey Lovullo, and Dan Iasonia all talking.
Dyson thinks he got hit. He should have reacted a little differently if he did. I don't see him getting hit.
No, it wasn't even particularly close.
No.
Oof.
JT throws about 96, 97 miles an hour. He might have felt the breeze of the ball going closely near his jersey, but it didn't look like the ball grazed his lettering there, right about Arizona. Yasmani's glove and Iasonia's right shoulder, the 2 sounds.
Now the umpiring crew coming together.
It's not even close. It's not even close, and the 2 sounds are definitely the tip of Yasmani's glove. Dyson hitting 182, trying to steal a base.
You can figure that Torey Lovullo is not going to like whatever explanation this is when he's the only one getting one.
The umpires definitely got it right.
Yeah. Now, are they saying that it's 0-2?
I don't know. Yeah, Iasonia just held up 2 fingers to the Dodger bench. Yeah.
They're saying that it's no balls and 2 strikes. Okay. And now Dyson's out. What are we missing?
Now the umpires think they got it wrong. They've got a foul tip, and they heard 2 sounds, and the sound they heard was Yasmani's Yasmani's glove, and they ruled it as it hit the butt end of the bat. So now I can see why Dyson was arguing that it wasn't even close to my bat, and none of the other 3 umpires got it that way.
And that is not something that you can review, so they're at the mercy of the umpires overturning it, and they decided not to. So 1 out for Nick Ahmed. As Dodger relievers continue to rack up these strikeouts, with the exception of the Descalso home run. It's been quite a night for the relief crew. They're pressed into duty in the 3rd inning when Kenta Maeda left. 1 1/3 from Ross Stripling tonight. Baez and Fields both scoreless innings. Cingrani had 3 Ks with a 2-run home run. Together, they've struck out 11. Chargois to Ahmed with a 2-0. Lifted to left field, sends Matt Kemp back onto the track, at the wall and gone. Nick Ahmed with a home run, and just when the Dodgers grab the momentum back, Ahmed hits his 2nd home run of the year to make it 8-5. And Matt Kemp came up limping after that leap at the wall to try and rob it.
Ahmed is another one of those hitters that has changed his theory, and his theory is to swing hard this year and let it go. And he did on that one, and a 2-0 fastball up in his eyes, and he planted it over the wall. You just hope Matt is okay.
One away from Mathis. He takes a strike. And now strike two.
For that home run, it felt like to me that things had started to turn for the Dodgers. Ground balls up the middle, finding their way through the holes. A weak infield hit. They get 3 runs and climb back in this game. An 0-2 count that really wasn't earned, that turned into a strikeout that the umpires had to get together. And what they'll ultimately find out is they got it wrong. And Ahmed plants that one over the left field wall, and it just took the air out of the stadium again.
Oral Ahmed has 14 home runs in his career, 7 against the Dodgers. Strike 3 over the inside corner, 2 out.
Always been known for his glove and his outstanding defense, but he is trying to change his ways there. He doesn't feel like Ozzie Smith, but Ozzie Smith was a very weak hitter early in his career, and then got into the weight room and started swinging harder and turned himself around into a Hall of Famer. He might have got there with just a glove into the Hall of Fame, but yeah, the bat didn't hurt when it came on.
Pollock here with 2 out, came on last inning in a double switch. And takes a strike. Yeah, he's not Ozzie Smith, but when he's been healthy, he's been one of the top 2 or 3 fielding shortstops in baseball by several defensive metrics. Pollock's reached against the Dodgers 19 consecutive games. A lot of times you see those kinds of streaks end in situations like this, where a guy may only get 1 at bat off of the bench. He's trying to make his 1 chance count here. In the air to center field, Chris Taylor makes a running catch, side retired. Diamondbacks get 1 back on the Ahmed home run. To the bottom of the 8th we go.
During Friday Night Fireworks presented by Denny's and featuring a Grateful Dead mix. For the best deal ever, purchased a concert ticket and a Dodger ticket for just $60. Visit Dodgers.com/Dead&Company.
Archie Bradley stays on for the 8th inning and delivers ball 1 to Yasmani Grandal. Now strike 1. 5, 6, and 7 here. Puig and Forsythe to follow. Dodgers 1 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th. On a 2-1, Grandal watches it pop the mid over the outside corner. 2-2. Bradley works so quickly. Fouled off, and we'll do it again. Stroke to center field for a leadoff single. And Yasmani Grandal, 2+ weeks into this season, still locked in at the plate.
He sure is. A great low ball hitter that picks on a high pitch right here, stays on top of it and through it.
He gets Puig up there. He started that 3-run 7th inning with a walk against Greinke. It's only a matter of time before Puig gets a hold of one and finally breaks that home run seal on 2018. Takes off with the inside, ball 1. Puig can reach. They'd again get the tying run to the plate. Jab foul, 1-1. A little bit low.
Quality at bat after quality at bat. You get back in this game.
On a 2-1, Yasiel Puig takes a pitcher's pitch for a strike. 2-2. Not a whole lot you can do with that one.
Well, that is either right on the corner or right off the edge, and Arizona gets the call.
So what does Bradley go with 2 strikes on Puig? A fastball low and away, runs the count full. Eight, 5 in the 8th. Grandal starts the inning with a single. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Puig. Here comes. Outside, ball 4. 2 on, nobody out. Logan Forsythe to the plate.
Yasiel showing great maturity right there. Not getting caught up in the moment. Get moved down in the order to the 6th hole. Out of the 3 hole he went, but he took his walk.
And now Forsythe, who doubled and scored last inning. He's won a home run this year. Came against Arizona and Phoenix last week. Tying run up there in the 8th inning. First pitch breaking ball for a strike. Logan Forsythe a year ago didn't swing at a single first pitch breaking ball. And so you'll see pitchers just toss the get me over, almost guarantee strike 1. Fly ball to right field. Easily playable for Dyson. Grandal headed for third. Dyson's throw cut off, and they're at the corners with one out.
Arizona conceding third base, trying to keep the double play in order, getting that ball in as quickly as possible, holding Puig to first.
And instead of Kike Hernandez, here comes Jock Peterson to pinch hit. Wouldn't this be a good time for Peterson's first long ball of the season?
When he's not starting, this is his #1 asset coming off the bench. He is the thunder from the left side.
Archie Bradley knows something about him. He's homered against him twice. 3 for 10 with 2 home runs against Archie Bradley. So you don't figure Mike Butcher has to tell him much that he doesn't already know.
Dave Roberts choosing the order of his pinch hitters against Bradley as the Silver Fox on deck, who's your on-base guy and grinder and could be one of the key batters coming up. But right here, he wants to take his shot with Jock to see if he can get one in the gap or over the fence.
Grandal at third and Puig at first. Here comes Bradley. Ball 1. Not been quite as sharp as we often see Archie Bradley. There are some times where it looks like it doesn't matter who's up there. There's no chance. One swing could tie it. 2 balls and no strikes. Wicked cut and a miss, 2-1.
Old-fashioned hardball. Bradley saying, I got to come after you. Jock saying it's 2-0. I know what I'm getting. Every time the Dodgers have scored to climb back in this, Arizona put another tally or 2 on the board. Here the Dodgers trying to take the lead.
Good take. 3 balls and 1 strike on Peterson. Trailed this game 5-1. They trail at 8-5. As Jock Peterson waits on this 3-1. Outside, they're loaded up. Tying one aboard in the 8th. Go-ahead run coming up, and it's Chase Utley.
25 pitches for Bradley. 23 have been fastballs, but the command has been 50-50.
Grandal's at third, Puig's at second, Peterson at first. A single and a couple of walks against Bradley. What does Chase Utley have in store? Swings away and pumps it foul. Seven grand slams in his 16 major league seasons, including his very first career hit. The 39-year-old takes strike 2. It's Andrew Chafin. The closer for the Diamondbacks is Brad Boxberger.
Looking for something to hit in the air. Maybe it turns into a sacrifice fly. Maybe it's just an out, but it gives Chris Taylor a chance. stay out of the double play.
Bouncing ball off of the bag, and they catch a break. This will score 2, and it's a 1-run game. The sly Fox this time.
There's no better ball hit to turn into a double play ball into this one. But there's one problem. Second base happens to be there, and it caroms to left field to get him 2. And there's life here in the stadium because of that bounce.
Seems like they've been due something like that. First and third, 1 out. Tying run 90 feet away. And Chris Taylor, the batter. First pitch breaking ball grounded to short. They get 1 at second and turn a double play. 6-4-3 to finish the inning. The Dodgers get 2 within 1 to the 9th. Chase Utley, after the 2-run single, stays in the game and will play second base. Jock Peterson stays in as well. Peterson will be in center. Kenley Jansen on to try and keep this an 8-7 game.
Big fella wants to keep it right there, set it up for an exciting bottom of the 9th. He's had a up and down year so far, but the last few outings the cutter has been late and sharp. Not real worried about the velocity is he, Rick Honeycutt, Dave Roberts. What they want to see is the consistency in the location and the cutter breaking late.
Top of the order here, Peralta, Marte, Goldschmidt.
There's been so many variations of velocity readings now with all the different places you can see it and find it, and the next day and different websites. Kenley has not been worried about the velocity, and we've seen him as high as 94, 95 on some readings, and we've seen him as low on some nights at 88.
His first pitch of the 9th is outside at 92 on the gun, 1-0. It's a swing and a miss, 1-1. Started playing baseball when he was 6 years old, because that's what his older brothers did. Verney is 8 years older than Kenley. Ardley 4 years older. So Kenley wanted to do what they were doing. Started out as an outfielder, believe it or not. Then he played some shortstop. That was until Andrelton Simmons moved into the area and joined his youth team. So then Kenley moved to third. He played some first. And of course, you know the story of him being a catcher. That's what he was signed as. Admired the bigger guys. Benji Molina, Henry Blanco. And Kenley wasn't much of a hitter as a catcher, and thought he could be something as a pitcher. And boy, were they right. Little flare to short, and Corey Seager put it away for the first out. DeJohn Watson, who was the scouting director at the time, then talked to Jansen about it and had him make the move. And then his first pitching coach, Charlie Huff. An A-ball in 2009. First few pitches that Jansen threw in front of Huff in his first bullpen session there, they were letter high, but seemed to have some cutting action to them. And Huff said, okay, I like what I see. Just aim the target a little bit lower. Hit the bottom of the zone, no problem. That same signature cut that you see now. Until Marte takes a ball. And Charlie has said that the key was not trying to teach him how to throw. The whole reason that he's given pitcher a try is because he knows how to throw. He's got a special ability to throw the ball. So let him throw how he knows how. And then as the years go on, we'll find the mechanics of the whole thing. 2-0. In fact, one of the drills that Charlie had for Kenley when he'd hit a rough patch pitching in that first year was to put him in a crouch back behind home plate, let him throw to the bases, and kind of let the natural throwing action, that muscle memory, take over again. Just inside, 3-0. Charlie was in a special place to be able to relate with Kenley because he was a converted position player himself. Kenley from catcher, Charlie from third. It's a strike, 3-1. For Charlie, 1969, he was pitching pretty well. Lower minors, but then left to spend 6 months in the Army Reserve, and when he came back, his shoulder hurt. Slice towards Seager again. This one will get by him for a base hit. And Huff thought that his career was probably over at that point until a scout showed him how to throw a knuckleball. He went on to pitch 25 seasons, won more than 200 games. And one of his lasting legacies will be Kenley Jansen. One on, one out, ninth inning. Here's Paul Goldschmidt. Whoa, takes a strike.
Charlie is a very wise man and very good at teaching pitching and addressing issues with younger players, but also big leaguers. He could go right to the top. Never in a hurry. He's a great observer, and when he goes to open his mouth and talk to the guys, he is usually going to be right on because he has taken complete inventory of where he wants somebody to head or how he wants them to relate back to their natural throwing motion.
Other than 2 on Goldschmidt. Kenley said that his experience as a catcher struggling to hit has helped him as a pitcher. He knows how hard it is to hit, so he never gives the hitters too much credit when he's thinking about attacking. Line to second, caught by Utley. Throw back to first is late. 2 out.
Third baseman number 3, Daniel Descalso.
Descalso hit a 2-run homer in the 7th that looms large right now. His 2-run shot in the 7th against Cingrani, and then Ahmed solo home run against Chagua in the 8th. You mentioned that Ahmed, 7 of his 14 home runs lifetime have come against the Dodgers. Similar thing for Descalso. He's hit 6 against LA. That's the most against any team for him. Fouls this one back. Brad Boxberger ready to go for a 9th inning that'll see 2, 3, and 4 come up. That's Seager, Kemp, Bellinger. Paul Dotley at second. On 2 bounces, he's got it. And the inning is over. Fasten those seatbelts. 1-run game. They've charged all the way back to the doorstep. They've got Seager, Kemp, Bellinger against Brad Boxberger. And save tries here in his first season with Arizona.
He's going to come at you with 92-mile-an-hour fastball, slider that hovers around 85, a changeup at 80. And he's been out there 3 times in the last 7 days, but not a lot of pitches, only 37 pitches. So with the day off yesterday, he's been well rested.
And Nomar, it's Corey Seager to lead this inning off.
Well, we talked about his approach. Now it's a difference where you are the leadoff batter. This is what, well, I'll tell you, one of the biggest challenges when you're an aggressive hitter like Corey Seager is you're going, okay, I know my strengths are attacking that first pitch, but at the same time, you know, it's the 9th inning, you're down by 1. You usually take a strike, especially with the new pitcher coming in, to see if he can find the strike zone.
All right, so let's see what he does on Boxberger's first pitch. He does take it. It's outside, ball 1. Now this comeback, getting 1 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th, and 2 in the 8th. It's had that same field they used to last year, where they pass the baton and have nice at-bats and take those borderline pitchers. He takes the first 2, 2-0.
Kenley posting that 0 is the first time that the Dodgers have come back, and all of a sudden they were able to post a 0, so they are just as close as when they were climbing.
Seager hits a pop fly into short center field, and Pollock will catch it.
And that right there is one of the things you struggle with as an aggressive hitter, because like we were just talking about, the book or the rule of thumb is 9th inning. You see if you can find the strike zone. But here you are. You were able to get into a 2-0 count, and you're thinking, gosh, he needs to throw a strike here. This is my chance to take advantage of it and possibly get one out and tie this game.
Seager retired, one away from Matt Kemp. It would take strike one. Had an RBI single during that rally of 2-out, 2-strike singles against Archie Bradley in the 7th inning. A little bit outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Dodgers haven't led in this game. It was tied at 1 after 1, but the Diamondbacks got 4 against Maeda in the 3rd. And it's been an uphill battle since. It seems like every time the Dodgers have gotten close, the Diamondbacks have had an answer. On a 1-1. It spins away, 2 balls and a strike. After Kemp, it's Bellinger. Two and 2.
Dodgers have played 4 one-run games, and they are 1-3. That's one of the reasons that they feel like they are so close to turning this thing around, is because that rhythm of offense and pitching, and just so close.
Got him with a fastball, and the Dodgers down to their final out.
Going up the ladder with a little tailing fastball.
And so it's up to Bellinger. He's had a good night tonight. It's included his 2nd home run of the year. Towering drive against Greinke back in the 6th. It's a first pitch changeup for a strike, and then he just barely missed one. With the Dodgers down 2 in the 7th, flied out to the warning track in center. Fastball after the changeup, and it's quickly 0-2.
Boxberger has used the bottom of the strike zone and then tried to finish guys up, leading him with a changeup to start to slow him down, and then heat upstairs.
That keeps things alive. Past the diving Goldschmidt into right. 2-out base hit for Cody Bellinger. Tying run aboard. Winning run coming to the plate in the form of Yasmani Grandal.
Cody didn't let him get to the fastball. Hit the next changeup. 79 miles an hour in. Probably about 100 miles an hour out.
No hitter's been more consistently locked in for the Dodgers so far this season than this man. Tonight he's 1 for 3. Pops it up. Descalso. And the Diamondbacks take this one 8-7. They've beaten the Dodgers 10 regular season games in a row.
This one was close. The whole season has been close when a lot of their tallies have come up short. The Dodgers still looking for a way to beat these Diamondbacks and to get on a roll.
Lexus player of the game is Zach Greinke, and it sure didn't look like he was going to have a chance to be that after the 1st inning when he gave up a home run to the leadoff man, and the training staff had to come take a look at him, but he fought through it. And it was really good. Over 6+ tonight to get his first win of the season. 8-7 the final score. Dodgers and Diamondbacks play game 2 tomorrow night at 6:10. Taiwan Walker for Arizona. Rich Hill for the Dodgers. For Oral, Alana, Nomar, the rest of our crew. Joe Davis saying good night. Stay tuned. Access Sportsnet Dodgers starts now.